Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another open chat. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and as usual, as we wait for people to trickle in, if they trickle in at all, call center woes, shall we? Shall we just please kill me? So, y'all already know that I am plagued constantly with individuals who call in and say, but what does out of stock mean? Okay, but there's a new one. There's a new one. Please kill me. That new one is individuals who call in, and the first words that come out of their mouth is, I know that this item says out of stock, but what? But what? It's out of stock. But do you know when it's gonna come back in? Like, couldn't you reach out? Okay, do you see a date underneath where it talks about the free shipping? No, it just says put my email in the notification box. Then it's quite simple, one two-step process. If it's out of stock, you type your email in that little box and you hit the notification. Then there's the other one. When they call in, say they put their name in to be notified, but then they go ahead and call in anyway because they haven't heard anything. Please kill me. If you haven't heard anything, it's because the item is still not in stock, which means doing a phone call is an utter and complete waste of time for everyone involved. Please send help. All right. Uh, you really don't get a good, decent grasp in regards to just how painfully, horribly, and just angry levels of stupid the common human being can be until you work at a call center. I'm just sorry because even more than in retail, at least you're in person and they try to show at least a small amount of decorum. If you are some stranger on the line they can't see, woo. That's all I'm saying. Hi, Jenny. Happy birthday. For anyone who might be out there, it is Miss Jenny's birthday today. So please show some love to the birthday girl. If you catch this stream later, which I'm sure the most of you will because I'm doing it way earlier than normal, then send her some love in the comments, all right? All right, so let's get to it, but first I have to show off because this is not movie Deadpool shirt. This is comic book Deadpool t-shirt. And I love it. And it took a really look. I imported this specific t-shirt because it was a needle in a haystack to try to find an accurate comic book Deadpool t-shirt. Just in case you don't realize, I take my Marvel and Tolkien fandom nerdery extremely. It, you get what I'm saying. Sorry. Thank you, Jenny. Yep, I love it because it's just traditional Deadpool. And yeah, I've been a fan since like 15, 16 years old. All right, so we are going to get into the news here in just a moment in regards to the JRC. But before we do, can we talk about this stupidity in regards to JD and the Instagram thing for a minute? May I remind you people, this is a man who doesn't even remember his Insta password. The few rare times you've seen him on anyone's streams, poor bruh. He's not quite sure what he's looking at. Let's put it that way. And yet somehow he photoshopped a photo of him in RDJ. Are you all on crack? Legitimately, are you on crack? Granted, I'm going to date myself here because I'm getting old, but I distinctly remember from early to mid 90s, there were multiple photos of JD and RDJ hanging out inside the Viper Room, outside the Viper Room, out in the streets, out on the Sunset Strip. There have been other photos since that time period at award ceremonies and visiting here and there. Right, right. Just see the few times he's popped up randomly in streams, mainly from like Tommy's channel. Like the poor dude has no idea what it is that he's witnessing. Okay? It's like when I have to deal with some of the older folks who come in who don't really understand how to utilize their phones and the fact that they can actually go on the web as long as they don't hit the hang up button and still be able to go through the website with me. He's that guy. Okay? He's that guy. And as far as Gina, the particular photo in question has been circulating since the early 2020s. Okay? It was a spur of a moment congratulatory Instagram post. They probably Googled it, just randomly grabbed it and put it on there. Okay? Could happen to anybody. All right? Ugh. And it's worse because it amuses me because somehow these folks make it well, but then he must not really be friends with RDJ. I'm first of all, people, let me remind you of the fact that the first motherfucker that called JD as soon as he won was RDJ. He spoke publicly more than once in his defense. Now, I'm sorry, this is hurting some of these individuals who entirely make decisions based off of feelings instead of facts and evidence. But they've had a friendship that has that's essentially been longer than a lot of these people who are complaining about it have been alive. It's ridiculous. So that Jenny, the poor man can't figure out the difference between video and picture. Right? Thank you. This. This right here. But somehow he's a mastermind and he's doing Photoshop. I don't think he would even know what a Photoshop out what that whole layout even looks like. I do because that's my degree, graphic design. I know Photoshop like the back of my hand. But poor technologically challenged bro, on the other hand, you know, I don't want to say God bless him, but you know, they made a controversy out of nothing. And what they in fact did reveal, which I find particularly disturbing, is that we have a group of individuals who essentially have made it their entire personality to constantly attack this man that they've never even met. So much so that they engage in extremely stalker like behavior and constantly they check his Instagram more than I do. I might check once a week. In the meantime, mainly on Silver Dollar City, Thompson Center, Burrell. You get where I'm going with those, right? That's what I'm usually on there for. Once, maybe a week, possibly, depending on how busy I am at the moment. And never when he first posts on Instagram, I can tell you that, will I go on there. But these girls who profess to essentially hate this man with their entire souls stalk every single move he makes. It's disturbing behavior. Neurotypicals, it's disturbing behavior to stalk a celebrity's every move by social media and other means, and always trying to force yourself in areas where they are. Whether it's for good or ill, it's creepy. It's not normal behavior. It doesn't become normal behavior because you all have tried to push that it is. It's not. Okay? I will take my nerdum of knowing ancient history and myth, probably way more than I ever should, over that level of celebrity obsession every day of the week. And Jenny says, it's like AH claiming he edited the recordings. He buys bots. Like, how in the world? Okay, before the trial, this man didn't even know what the fuck bots were. Okay? He had no idea what anybody was talking about. Wouldn't you need to know what a bot was before you sent however much money towards purchasing them? They mentioned bots during the trial. Like that blank look. You could see it in his face. That blank look of him still not really being able to wrap his brain around what bots are. And I'm supposed to believe that this man, even, yeah, the man has not seen Photoshop, folks. Even as a musician, this is what they hire people with degrees like mine in graphic arts to handle the Photoshop. There's a reason. Just, it was ridiculous. And it gets on my last nerve as an autistic that I am browbeat. Most of us are all day, every day, over our special interests and how bad they are and how they keep us away from people, while meanwhile the person saying this has their head in their phone on some celebrity social media stalking their every move. If you're going to have a special interest, can it be the type of special interest that doesn't invade somebody else's privacy? Seriously. Right there, folks. This whole thing is stupid. Is a man not allowed to simply congratulate their friend anymore without having millions of strangers descend upon them like hundreds of thousands of locusts to try to rip apart something that is extremely simple? An honest mistake was made. That's it. When he was quick to fix with an actual photo, I might add. I'm not so disturbed about the photo as I am about the people who are obsessed enough that this photo has apparently become something. It's like, okay, fine. I don't like talking about the royal family. You know I don't. My family members were leaders within the revolution, okay? I'm a daughter of the revolution. I have all the paperwork in regards to it, okay? My relatives did not fight and die for me to give two shits about whatever the hell the royals are doing. But because this is the world we live in that is obsessed with them, we got the whole Princess Kate photo thing, right? And everybody wants to have commentary and conspiracy theories. Folks, this is what happens when you're terminally online. Okay? The fact that you take time out of your day, especially if you work full time, to study and scrutinize a photo of an individual, to try to tear it apart, to support your conspiracy theory, seek help. These obsessions over photos, seek therapy. Go outside, see the birds. Take your head off your big and small screens and go out there and get a little bit of real life experience. Because it is obnoxious and insane that we have photos like what was put out and what came from JD, and everybody and their mother feels entitled to an opinion or a conspiracy theory that they feel that they just need to air out to the rest of planet Earth. If people put half the effort that they put into this celebrity crap into their own lives, you get what I'm saying, right? It's obnoxious. It's annoying. Let's read on here. And yet these crazies who so-called support only. If you hate a guy so damn much, why do these individuals seem absolutely incapable of keeping the man's name out of their mouths? Because I don't go stalking around people that I hate. Matthew Israel belonged behind bars a long damn time ago, but I am not using what small amount of precious free time I do have to go track his ass down. Okay? And I hate that man with the entirety of my full being. Yet, they supposedly hate JD as much as I hate Dr. Matthew Israel. And they stalk his every move. Like, are you just that you are you addicted to loving to hate him? Is that it? Why waste that much time or energy on an individual that you supposedly hate? You know? That's kind of hilarious. Uh, that's hilarious. It's just, yeah. All this energy people put towards perfect strangers. You can say that about me if you want to, but there's usually very sound, logical reasons with evidence to back it up why I do the things I do and support who I support. These individuals are so hooked on celebrity culture, they hate just to hate as though it's like some kind of pastime. Ugh. But, anyways, speaking of Kool Aid drinkers, now it's time to reveal what got leaked just literally a couple of days ago. I got this from CC, from the neurodivergent community on Twitter, one of us who's been fighting this battle for like the entirety of our adult lives. And it's a bit of a doozy. And I already did a video on it, but I did want to pull it up on a live and actually pull it up and go over it. So let me go ahead and do that here. I apologize if it suddenly shorts out. This is one of those like pop up from hell sort of websites, but here we go. All right, so let me get it pulled up here. Okay, so I'm going to reveal to you what has recently been leaked. Let me go to it here. By a potential new employee of the JRC. This comes straight out of Canton. Look how recent that was. This is just, well, now it's been only 6 days ago. The JRC's NDA circumvents the mandated reporter law. Before we get into reading this monstrosity, for those of you who haven't been around the health field your whole life and haven't worked within it, the mandated reporter law is if you work as a caregiver in official capacity anywhere, if you are hospital staff, if you were, like me, state staff handling consumers, anything in that form or capacity, you are duty bound, legally bound, that if you start noticing signs of what looks like to be abuse and neglect, you are to report it immediately. If the first boss won't listen, you take it higher up, higher up, and higher up, and then eventually you report it to the proper authorities should the actual employer not take the action themselves, right? That's what a mandated reporter is. It is federal law. Every single one of us have to go through certification. Not just that first time when we first get employed, but get it renewed every single year. Okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and read this. Again, I know I've already done the video on this, but I'm just going to try to not rant, try really hard. I make no promises. And let's see what you all think. It says the JRC's NDA circumvents the mandated reporter law. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, Inc. confidentially agreement for employees. It states, folks, that they are an employee of the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, Inc. As an employee, they understand that from the time to time they will have access to confidential, proprietary, and non public information of the JRC. Any of us who've worked in the general field know what this is. It is a disclaimer, an agreement that you have to sign with this type of job every single time, regardless of where you go. This is where it starts getting different. This information may be received by us in verbal, written, or machine readable form. It may include, without limitation, student records and other student related information, educational software, curriculum, business and financial information. They really don't want us to know where they get the money from, but you know, the rabbit's already out of the hat on that one. Educational software, curriculum, business and financial information, technical information concerning this right here, folks. Technical, sorry, information concerning the JRC's graduated electronic decelerator device, business plans, trade secrets, and other non public data and information. collectively confidential information. So essentially, they're trying to see whatever you see with the GED. No, you didn't. All right? Because that's what that sounds like to me. They are using an NDA to essentially muzzle the employee before they even set foot inside the facility for their first day. Let's continue to read because it gets worse. For purposes of this agreement, the term confidential information shall be construed in the broadest possible manner. I wonder why. It couldn't be because you're trying to put a muzzle on your employees, would it? They say, as an employee, they agree that all confidential information shall remain the sole propriety of JRC, including anything they notice with the GED. I will treat all such information as confidential and proprietary. I will make use of confidential information only for the purposes directly related to the services I render as an employee of the JRC, and will not disclose any or disseminate any confidential information to third parties without the express consent of Dr. Matthew L. Israel. Think about that, folks. Think about that. They can't talk about what they see without Matthew Israel giving them the go ahead. And I can't help but see as well, we think of Greg Miller, don't we? Yeah. I further understand it says and agree that I will not remove any materials containing or incorporating confidential information from JRC's premises without the express permission of Dr. Matthew L. Israel. You are really terrified of leaks, aren't you, Doctor? Upon termination, this is where it gets even better. Upon termination of my relationship as an employee of JRC for any reason, I agree to immediately return all keys, pass cards, or any other property belonging to or licensed by JRC, and all copies of all material containing any confidential information which I have within my possession or control to the JRC. Gee, I wonder why. Don't want those personal reports about the second and third degree burns you wrote down to get out to the wrong people, would you? I explicitly agree that the provisions of this agreement will survive the termination of my consulting relationship and employment with the JRC. This is what's unprecedented here. Most major businesses have some form of an NDA. Okay? What makes this different is listen that they are still compelled by this agreement even after they have quit their jobs. Okay? Let's continue. Finally, I acknowledge that a breach of this agreement by me could result in irreparable harm to the JRC. Let me play the world's smallest violin. In addition to any other available remedies, in the event of a breach of this agreement by me, I agree that the JRC shall be entitled to injunctive and other equitable relief, and that the JRC shall be entitled to recover the cost of enforcing its rights under this agreement, including reasonable attorney's fees. You see that, right? Do you see that? They are literally threatening them before they can even take their freaking job for the first day. All right, let's get in here. Think about what we're seeing here. We are literally in a situation where the JRC has been allowed way too much power for far too long. What they are essentially doing here with that agreement is not just threatening them to not say anything and not report anything to proper authorities, even though, as a mandated reporter, That's what they're supposed to do by federal law. And not just that, but after they leave the JRC's employment, they are still under the agreement according to this NDA they force new employees to sign that essentially says, and if you make us come after you, it's like listening to an abuser talk to their victim, isn't it? And if you dare say anything, we're going to sue you into the Stone Age. And then we're going to make you pay us for the privilege. What do you all think about this, Miss Jenny? What do you think, Chairman? It's insane, right? It is insane, this NDA that they try to use to circumvent a federal law and nobody does anything. All right, Jim, like, why do I think that that is the way? Oh, wait, AH thinks movies are reality. Oh, God, don't get me started on that one again. But yeah, what do we think about this NDA that was leaked out? Thank you. Can somebody tell me if they can actually legally do this? Granted, these are shady folks. They can probably manipulate things in regards to when the person is still employed. But to have that clause in there that they can attack them after employment has been terminated, that is batshit insane. I've never seen that before, and I'm going to be 40 this November. This is true. This is true. I guess I shouldn't be shocked, but having worked in the field, my mom working in healthcare for before my entirety of my life, let's put it that way. To see someone actually create an NDA that's purpose is to circumvent the mandated reporter law is insane. The premise alone to try and muzzle new employees before they even set foot inside the door, that's already nuts. Sounds illegal as fuck. But to then put a clause that after they vominos, they're out, they're gone. That they're not allowed to open their mouths and say anything about what's going on behind closed doors. It gives me that sinking heart and sinking stomach feeling that in spite of how horrific we know that they are from the information that has managed to get out and survive, that we don't even know the half of it yet. Even after all these years and all of us sleuths investigating, spending a good chunk of our lives doing it, I might add, who they're connected to, where is the money coming from? It's been a lot of work to find. This is insane. Okay? I've been around healthcare and mental health circles my whole life. I have never seen anything quite like this. Nobody tries to put a muzzle on you after you are no longer at that job. They are trying to essentially control former employees. That's insane. Not even call centers pull that. And they pull a lot. It's insane. I don't really know I know Legally Dirty Blonde, and I have interacted with her on the very rare occasion, but I don't really have any real pull with LawTube. But I feel like this is illegal as hell. And a direct, blatant violation of the mandated reporter law. Right? This is beyond anything I've ever seen before. I've never seen another type of business, even the shady kind, try to actually control what former employees say. Most of them actually don't even try. They don't know where they are, and they're a big business and they've got things to do. This is insane. Their absolute need for control in all situations, even with those who are no longer associated with them. They're so obsessed with control and forcing their insane idea of what normality looks like, which to me looks a lot like a Jehovah's Witness. Just saying. It's insane. Everything that they try to control and try to get around, and the loopholes that they try to dig out, like mother of God. And I want to know what, because I know some pretty unscrupulous lawyers. Fair, fair. Don't hate the player, hate the game. But who in the name of God had the gall and the balls to write this NDA? Because any lawyer worth their salt, shady or not, would probably tell you that that clause, particularly towards the bottom of the page there, is as illegal as hell. Maybe it's not illegal. God, I hope it is not. Oh my. You see where I'm going, right? It gives you that soul shattering feeling that we don't know the half of it. And what we do know is already beyond horrific. The things that we have described on this channel that others have described is shit you would expect to see in third world countries that are war torn. Not in a so called liberal progressive state. And the fact that somehow it just keeps getting worse every single day. And I noticed no major outlets actually reported on the leak. That would be us YouTubers and us sleuths who find these things, and immediately we are networking and getting them shared throughout the international neurodivergent community. Because once again, we have to do MSN's job for them. Those of you who follow me because of the JD case, you know what I mean when I say we have to do MSN's jobs for them, right? Isn't it annoying? I find it's annoying that we can't even trust people to do their jobs anymore. There's not news and traditional journalism, there's everybody's opinion. But, anyways, that's its own subject. But first, I want to take a minute, you guys who are with me here. I want to take a minute. Think about the bravery of the soul that went through all of that, did that orientation, and as an act, I can only assume an extreme act of conscience, decided that they were going to leak that NDA out to social media. Think about the balls that person has after everything we know that the JRC is capable of. Think about it. The absolute, the balls it would take to go and post that. To be willing to be that one honest person and says, no, this is something that should not be and needs to be known about. It's like Jennifer Howell vibes from that one. You know what I mean? Because JRC is known for their underhanded tactics, stalking, threatening, bribery. The list is literally endless. And this person still chose to be brave. And even though they did it anonymously, I'm still going to call them brave because, as we all know, the JRC has a horrible way of finding out shit. So I just want to take this moment, whoever you are who leaked that. If you should ever come across this video sometime, you are a goddamn hero, you are a legend, and you are the damn moment. Because I haven't seen anyone with that level of balls since Greg Miller passed and Senator Joyce. What do you guys think? I think it took bravery to be willing to go out of your way and leak that NDA agreement out to social media. Even though that person knew it was not going to get reported on major news, they still did it, folks. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but that's tremendous bravery. And I hope to God that they know some decent tech, some VPN, so that the JRC can never find them. That's my hope. I don't know. What do you think, Jenny? I think that was brave. That was brave as hell. Just my opinion, but. So, to that person, wherever you are, thank you on behalf of an international group of us who've been trying to end this barbarity for decades. I can't say it more heartfelt than that. That was God. Sorry. Whew. But yeah, we all know how litigious the JRC is. They make TMZ look like amateurs when it comes to their willingness to sue people. We all know this. And what mostly intimidates most folks is they have unlimited millions of dollars to continue to throw in the fight, while most of these folks are middle class in this decade, if you're lucky to be considered middle class at this point, because that's going the way of the dodo. Yeah. So that's the newest leak. And this kind of follows out on the heels of the fact that we know that the FDA has been working on with allies to revamp the final ban on the GED device. And because of this, and because the JRC was notified of it, they're going to sue the FDA. Like we've talked about this on this channel for probably a month now. But I'm sorry, my mind is still blown. The fact that this follows on the heels of that. In my opinion, it takes a lot of wind out of the JRC's self-righteous selves. Oh no, hun. It's happening. It is actually happened. The lawsuit has actually already been filed. I know this because I got the documents and I haven't gone into much depth into it yet. I'm still handling that 2020 final rule from the FDA. But to just kind of give you all a brief look, because eventually I plan to go through this with a fine tooth comb. Let me show you. So as soon as I heard rumor of this going around the neurodivergent community, I had to go and do some digging to clarify and to see whether they were talking out their ass or not. But here is what we have, folks, so far. And if you look, here's the complaint attached. Yeah. This is the full article, the full complaint. We'll be going over that eventually. But, folks, this is not a drill. This is not a drill. And so far, you would think the courts wouldn't entertain that, but unfortunately, through my experience dealing with these bastards, they're entertaining it. They are entertaining it. Just the level of corruption and greed, it's hard to wrap your brain around. But eventually, I came to a point where I could start to do so, and then this shit happens. Well, they did entertain JD at AH. Well, I'm sorry, but JD had every right to do what the fuck he did, and I would have done the same in a heartbeat without hesitation. I'm sorry, not sorry. You going to slander someone, kamikaze the entirety of their career? Then yeah, that individual has the right to sue for damages. That's what that case was all about. The JRC suing the FDA, on the other hand, is a horse of an entirely different color. This is a different type of law from what we are used to through the entertainment and MSN. To put it bluntly, when you're dealing with lawsuits on the federal level, you are dealing with something, I can't really put it in the words. You have to experience it and have gone through it or sat through it to kind of wrap your brain around the idea of suing the federal government. Okay? This is politics. This is greed. This is the ultimate theater of public opinion and public ignorance. Okay? It's they're completely different animals from one another. One was a defamation lawsuit that was rightfully filed, and I still to this day can't put quite into words how thrilled I am he won. That one of us neurodivergents finally fucking won against our tormentors and abusers. Because I don't have words for it. This case is an entirely different animal, and you have to treat it that way. This is high stakes. This is, well, you get what I'm saying here. This is power players. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I can give it due justice. But different animal. Defamation lawsuit is an entirely a different animal from the FDA being sued by the JRC. And from the looks of it, it doesn't look to be a defamation lawsuit. I'll have to look. They could be trying to go for double jeopardy, but considering the type of process that those hearings were, they were not necessarily done inside a courtroom, but done in political offices. So, major difference. Major difference in a way I feel like I can't really accurately describe. You have to see it. You know, you have to see it. I've seen it. I've seen it here, dealt with a lot of that stuff out here. Burl, although they're good at what they do, yeah, you see where I'm going, right? Reason why I'm bringing that up is just as we just got news of this here just a couple weeks ago. This is still relatively new news. And to have this NDA leak happen not really that too long after we got word of this lawsuit the JRC wants to bring against the FDA. The JRC is not having a good time right now. I do actually think, hope against hope, my own nihilism, that they're starting to feel a little bit of fear. You know, because afterwards, the FDA, after all, decided they were not going to back down. The JRC is not used to people not being willing to settle and not willing to be able to back down. You know what I'm saying? They're used to people backing down, taking money, doing settlements, as it always has been in the past. The FDA is not backing down. It's nice to see it because I did kind of wonder between the years between 2016 and 2020, I wondered kind of what happened to their balls. In fact, that they did not name the device out specifically, which is how we ended up in this ongoing situation in the first place. But to know that they were trying to fix their mistake and the JRC just couldn't have that to the point that they're doing this. And then to have this disclosure leaked literally on its heels. Machinations are in motion, is all I'm saying. You know? You know? And what can I say? I may be a nihilist, but doesn't matter. I will still fight the JRC until hell freezes over. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. This is going to be insane. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. I'm going to keep bringing things up as more comes out, but it makes me wonder because one of two things happens generally when a leak like this happens. Either the person is found out who leaked the evidence that gets sued back into the Stone Age, And then you got the countersuit, and then you got the whole circus going. It's just going to be interesting. We're going to be trying to keep as much track of it as we humanly can. You know, it's hard to keep track of all this stuff, work a full-time job, and, you know, but I do what I can as much as I can, whenever I can, however I can. All right, folks, we're about 5 minutes away from an hour, so we're going to start winding things down a little bit. But before we go, just to kind of sum everything up, let's just start with their typicals. You really need to start taking your noses out of celebrity ass. Okay? You shouldn't be jumping over every single Instagram, X, or whatever social media they happen to be using and pouncing on it, negatively or positively. Being addicted to being online has also kind of fed into some people's addiction for drama and fights. People used to handle that by watching drama on TV and being addicted to soap operas, which are, although trashy and annoying, still a lot healthier than stalking someone's every move on social media. And for those people who do not call out those behaviors, but they're going to call out me and my ilk because our special interests happen to be like ancient history, myth, what have you. At least my special interest, the majority of our special interests, does not infringe upon anybody's privacy. Just saying. I'm not going to have some celebrity complain out of nowhere about me referencing the Roman Empire or Greece or Egypt or Constantinople or any of the other places, time periods, and wars I've studied. They will lament the fact that people jump on their Insta posts like they need it for oxygen or following them in crowds everywhere. My autistic ass couldn't handle it. Well, I can't say that. I have handled it in the past during conference days, but you get what I mean. All right, folks, I've rambled about enough in regards to that photo, in regards to the leak, in regards to the JRC. We're going to go ahead and close out for this afternoon because we're getting close to Korean food being made. So I want to thank you, Jenny, and I want to thank you, Chairman, for coming on here this afternoon. Again, I know it's early, and I appreciate the both of you. Again, Jenny, happy birthday, girl. Go out, have a blast, enjoy yourself. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea will see you next go around Tuesday after this upcoming one. Everyone have a fantastic day, okay? No problem, Jenny. Go have a blast. Bye bye, everyone.